What's up guys, and welcome back to WBC Builds, and welcome to this 1.16 Nether update Victorian house tutorial. So recently I've posted a video all about 1.16 and the new blocks and how to use them in your Victorian builds, and I used this house as an example for the warped wood. Now this is a Second Empire American Victorian house, often just used as a Victorian house, although it is not actually Victorian. Anyway, we'll get into that later on, so let's jump into the video. I'm going to start by showing you guys a list of building materials on the screen, so let's get into the video. On screen right now you can see a list of all the materials within this build. I've tried to be as accurate as possible. Pause the video now so you guys get a clear look at that. I just wanted to address something in this video as well. The term Victorian American seems to pop up a lot when people talk about this building. Now, Victorian for me and most British people is the period of time between 1837 and 1901 during the reign of Queen Victoria. Now, to me it's puzzling that the American houses during this period are also called Victorian because you guys were not part of the British Empire and did not have Queen Victoria. So I like to use the term Second Empire house for this, which was mainly started around about the 1860s in America, and it has a very nice French influence to it. So I'm going to stick with calling it a Second Empire house from now on, but you guys can call it what you wish. Anyway, let's jump into the video and I can show you guys how I built this. Okay, so the building itself, as you can see, is very large. It's not a small little quick build. This video is going to take a little bit of time for us to get through all of the do's and don'ts of this building, and as you can see I've laid out the floor plan of it in junglewood planks around the bottom here. So I've chosen junglewood planks because I feel it's a nicer colour to complement the rest of the building rather than using normal bricks. So yes, that's the kind of reason for the basement level here. Okay, so let's count the actual building itself. So you've got the main structure, which is 28 blocks across here. Then you go down this way 20 blocks and then back across 28 here. So you've got a rectangle in the middle. You've then got along the sides here 2 bay windows, which are these little bits that stick out like this. So you need to go across 1, 2, 3, and then up 1, across the middle there 3 again, back down 1. And it's exactly the same on this side. And then around the front we have a porch at the front and the back of the building. So the porch at the front needs to come in 1 block, go across here 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks across there, 5 blocks across there again, up 2, and then across 7 here till you get to where the main stairs to the front door are going to go. So when we come back to the front door, you can see it's jutted out 1 by 3 blocks here from the outside, and this goes up to form not a tower as such, but a sort of an offset bit of the middle, and that will be apparent later on when we get through into building it. So first things first, I think it's time to start on the actual main building, and the first block you want to be placing down are the corner blocks. So on each of the corners you need to count up 11 blocks like that. I'm not going to go all the way up just yet, and this forms your corner pillars, which is the sort of edges of the frame, and then within the frame we'll be placing all of this new warped wood. So that's the 4 corner pillars in. Now I'm going to be building this in a slightly different way to actually how I built it in the test world, and that's only because I think it's quite easy to get a few easy wins in here. So from the outside you want to be grabbing your quartz bricks here and then knocking out the bottom pillar there, and we're going to go around and do a whole sort of curtain of this quartz bricks because these are the new 1.16 blocks that I'm in love with the most, and they work for this building, they work for all other manners of Victorian buildings you can think of because they just are beautiful. So let me just go around and fill this in, and then we can get into actually putting the first walls up. Okay, so we've gone around and put the whole bottom layer of quartz bricks in. At the front here you want to knock out those 2 because that's where the doorway is going to be. And then we come round back to our left hand side and count in 2 blocks here for the first bit of wall. And this goes all the way up because this building is very much sort of symmetrical at the front, and we do that just to keep where the windows are going to be. So this building is a 2-block centre, which can make building sometimes a bit hard, a bit more complicated, but for us we're going to be just building it perfectly fine. So on the front of the porch here you want to go for some pillars again. These go up to where the top of the porch will be later on. We're going to crack on with the main building first, as I said, then we will come back to do the front and back porch together later on. So what I've done here is I've counted in 2, left 2 for the window, counted across 2 more, left another 2 for the window, and then 2 more up to the edge of the first porch. Okay, so you can see what I've done here, and we're going to repeat this on the other side, and then we can get the windows in, and then the front building is pretty much already there. Okay, so that is what the front of the building looks like. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. We've got a lot more to get on with. So around the window edges, I have chosen to use birch trapdoors as the window sort of seal, the window frame. Now, in my original test build of this, I actually used iron trapdoors, and you can use that if you're building this in creative mode. So let's go on the other side, and I can quickly show you how to use iron trapdoors as an alternative if you are building this in a creative world where you have rights to allow you to use cheats and the debug stick. So I will go into a little less detail with the debug stick here because I have a whole video on that, so you guys can go check that out if you wish to know a little bit more about how to use it. But with these, the iron trapdoors are placed down as you would do a normal trapdoor. You cycle round to where it says open, and then you right click on the open bit. This is not a world edit sort of cheat. This is an actual in-game cheat that allows you to utilize things like iron trapdoors. So we won't be using the iron trapdoors for this build because I feel a more survivability section here is definitely to do with the birch trapdoors, and it gives an opportunity for everyone to build it. Iron trapdoors are nice to have, and if you are playing this in creative with the ability to use a debug stick, then I recommend you use the iron trapdoors. So anyway, let's jump back over there and I'll carry on putting the window frames in. So we've got the window frames in over this side. Above that, you want to grab out a piece of smooth quartz and put that over the window. This just acts as a lintel that's been painted white. So that's your ground floor windows pretty much done on the left hand side here. We will go around and put the internal skin of wall in later on and add the actual window panes. So for the window panes, we are using white stained glass, so we will get onto that once we have a few more of these walls up. So let me just rinse and repeat that on the other side, then we'll show you what to do with the middle section, and then we can get the first layer of the whole house built, and then we can move on up to the second level. Right, okay, so it's time to move on to the front door section. So this, you can sort of let your hair down a little bit, be a bit more creative. What I'm going to do is to show you what I've done. So I'm using more of these quartz bricks, placing it up. 3 blocks there, so we've got 2 high sort of left in between, and in between that and the pillar you want to grab out some birch fences, place those down, and above the birch fences you want to be using some smooth quartz stairs just to cap this off like it's a little archway. Now above these you want to be placing another stair like that, and then one more in front of that to give this little effect here of a little cutout. Do the same there, and hey presto, you've got yourself a doorway. So behind this doorway section we want to be placing quartz bricks all the way up to the top there, and then need to be filling in the bit of ground here. So I've opted to use birch planks as my floor because I feel American houses have these sort of light woods floors. Don't hold me on that, I've never been to America, but from what I've seen from watching Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares and the hotel series he did, they seem to have quite a lot of wooden white sort of a light coloured floor. That is my very, very narrow-minded take on Victorian American buildings, but you see where I'm going with that. So for the doors, I've opted to go for some dark oak because they have a nice grand feel about them. Now, above the doors, we want to be placing what's known as a fan light. These are current in Victorian American buildings as well as they are in British buildings. And for this, we're going to be using iron trapdoors to act as a sort of windowsill, and above that, we'll do the same. So behind all of this, you want to be adding glass just so it fills it all in, and then behind this bit up here, you put some more quartz bricks. So that's the front door done. Like I said, we'll come back round and glaze everything later on. So now it's time to go around to the side. We can get started with that. So we've come around here to the left-hand side of the building, and what you want to do is use your warped wood again. We're going to be using lots of warped wood because that is the main wall for this whole build. We build that all the way up to the same height as the rest of the walls. With the bay window, we want to build this out just a little bit more this side as well. With the bay window, you want to be taking out some diorite walls. I'm using these because we haven't got quartz walls yet, even though I feel like they were promised at some point in this Nether update, but they never materialised. So 1, 2, 3 high there. Do the same back here, so you want to be placing in a bit like that, 2, 3, and then the same here. And then this is sort of only possible now we have 1.16, where we can place window panes on walls and they actually connect. I know it's crazy, we've been waiting for this for such a long time, and now you can actually build really nice bay windows. So that's what happens there. Fill up the inside of these walls with glass and you get yourself some nice bay windows. Look at that. I'm so happy this is now a feature. This is now very, very utilisable within the Victorian building community. So that's the bay window in place. Now we want to put one more block here to act as the wall, and then leave 2 blocks for the window, 2 more blocks in between, and then 2 more blocks for the window again, and you've got 3 blocks before you reach the edge of the building. So carry this all the way up. Now the reason the building is like this with some hickledy-pickledy windows is due to the interior. Now I will not be building the interior. I never do interiors. Interiors are not me. So you guys are left open to choose how you wish the interiors should look. I recommend just having at it and having a good old go with what you can have a bit of fun with. We won't be placing anything inside apart from a floor. Okay, so you can see how this is going to look, and then we need to come around to the back and sort that bit out. Okay, so the porch at the back here is going to act as a place with a little room here. So you've got like a little sunroom or a little entrance in. We will build that later on when we come to building the porch. For now, we need to carry on the main warped wood walls. So you're going to be counting in 3 blocks from the side here, leave 2 again for the window, 2 more in the middle there, another 2 for a window. You then want to leave 3 blocks there for another window, and then 2 blocks for a window. I feel like I'm just repeating myself, and then another 3 blocks, and then you've got the rest of the wall up through there. So let's build all this up, and then we can go around to the right hand side, and I'll show you what's slightly different there than on the left hand side. So that is what you're left with on the back. Now let's get around to the right hand side and carry on with this. So exactly as we did on the left hand side, you got yourself a door, a bay window here. So we need to use some walls again just to emulate the effect of sort of window pane bits. So coming in here, filling in these little blocks on the corner, 3 blocks high, 2, 3, and then fill in the walls like that. Then you come around here, place 3 on the front here, and another 3 there. And in between those, you'll be placing your glass planes, and then obviously just joining them all up so you get yourself a nice angled bay window. Now, these bay windows, again, I think I said it on the other side, I love them. They look good. Diorite, yes or no? I'm not completely convinced it's the best block in the game. You want to count in from the edge here, 4 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you want to be leaving yourself 2 blocks for the edge there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 up to there. And that sort of helps you line it up with the dormers above when we get round to building those. Okay, so it's now time to go around and just cap off these bay windows, which is something we didn't do while I was building it. So for this build, I've chosen to use andesite mixed with bits of stone brick and mossy stone brick, and that will give us a nice effect of a sort of flat roof. So what you want to do is just cover the tops of these windows like so. You can go through and you can build it all in one go, or you can go and you can texture it first. I like to just sort of break it out because I'm playing in creative, aren't I? So for me, it's a lot easier just to break it out as you go. And then at the back, so it needs to just be 2 blocks wide at the back, we can then place the rest of the wall here and build this all the way up. There is a window above here. We will get onto that later on when we come around to doing this floor. So that's with the wall filled up. The window itself is actually needs to be on the same level as here, so we need to make sure we're coming around to the right bit, and it sits there. Lovely stuff. So around the top of the bay window, you want to be placing some smooth quartz stairs, and this just acts as a sort of cornice around it and gives it a nice effect. So there we go. What I like to do as well is to cap the cornice off with something that looks a bit like lead. I tend to put a grey carpet on top, and so it looks like it's been lined with some lead. So you need to rinse and repeat that on the other side as well. So we're going to jump to having that done, and then we can fill in all the windows on this ground floor, and that's the ground floor very much there. Then it's time for us to move upstairs and start thinking about the roof. Okay, so we've got the entirety of the ground floor windows in. You can see I've just gone around and did the birch trapdoors there as the window frame, and then the white block of quartz above it. So it's time to move on now to the upper floors, and we've got the front section to do first. So what you're going to do is go around and place another block of warped wood above all of the windows, and that forms the base of the next set of windows. So it's exactly the same as it is on the ground floor, apart from these windows here have completely changed. I love that. I love leading you guys in with a sort of, it's the exact same. So what happens here is these windows above are no longer sitting 2 blocks apart. They are now forming a sort of 4 block wide window. So this is done by using the trapdoors, and this is the whole reason I've used the trapdoors. So you place them in the middle like so, on top of each other. So you've got sort of 2 blocks wide there, and you come over here on the other block and do it backwards, and you're left with a pillar in the center. So this forms 2 windows like they are sitting as one, and I love this style. It's very what's known as Italianate. Above this, you then want to be placing 2 different sections of sort of archways using smooth quartz stairs, and hey presto, there's your first window. So let's do the same again on the other side over here. So hey, there we go. So that's what your second floor is looking like. Let's go on round to the middle section there, and we can get the first floor completely done on the front. Okay, so the middle section here is, as I said earlier on, exactly the same as it is below. No, this one actually is exactly the same. So it's just a case of making sure they're all lining up. So you've got 3 blocks in the middle here, 1, 2, 3 high with the trapdoors. That all sits on the same level. And then above that, we're going to go for a small arch using these smooth quartz stairs. So that's what you're looking at now for the front of the building. Obviously, once we get the porch in here, it's going to look completely different. And when we get the actual cornice above as well, it's going to look even better. So above this window, make sure you fill in all of the warped wood. And then we have a complete front. Obviously, again, once we get the glass in there, you're not going to recognize this place. It's all going to start coming together. So moving on round to the right-hand side, these are exactly the same this time going above. So I'm not lying to you this time. There we are. So going around, adding all the trapdoors on and moving on up. So the only difference on the sides here is the actual use of a window above the bay window. And we'll get onto that in 2 seconds. Let me just fill these in. Lovely stuff. Okay, so the bay window is actually offset 1 block from this, because obviously this is 1 block center. We need the windows at 2 centers. So you just need to push it off 1 block to the left, and then you just fill this in like you've done with all the other windows. So that's what this side's looking like. Going to fill in the tops of these with some warped wood again. Going around to the other side with this bay window, it's exactly the same again. You just move it 1 to the right, and then you just carry on putting all the internal stuff in there. So I'm going to jump to having all of these windows on this floor completely done, and then we can talk about the roof. Okay, so all the windows around the side are now filled in with their frames around the edges and the quartz above them, and it's all looking good. So you can see now the building's really starting to take quite a nice shape. So let's talk roof. Okay, so it's now time to talk the cornice. So what we're going to be using for this is smooth quartz slabs interleaved with iron trapdoors. Now the iron trapdoors just give this nice little texture of having maybe a smaller, sort of shallower section of this crenellation here in this cornice. There's no real other way of doing it, and this just really does help with helping this style. So when you get to corners like this, it's a little bit tricky, but you do need to just put a quartz bit on the corner like that. Coming across the front here, we are going to change up the patterning. So in the center here, you put 2 trapdoors just to make it look a bit better. It just helps get the pattern flowing properly across the whole roof. So you see here, trapdoor, trapdoor, trapdoor. So that's what you're looking at now for the front piece with the cornice in place. We're going to need to put another selection of slabs jutting out from the front here, and this just gives you the ridge of the top of the cornice. We are going to want to take out this corner here, because I don't like having corners protruding out nearly 2 meters. It always looks a bit odd. And then behind this, we're going to be cracking out the main building block I want to use for this whole house, and that is the black stone for the roof. So I'm going to go around and just finish off putting this cornice around the whole thing so you guys get a clear picture of what it looks like, and then we're going to start doing the mansard roof, the main name feature of this place. So a quick little mention on what to do on the corners. For this one, we've got the 2 quartz slabs here. Above that, you want to go up 1, and then you put it back 1 like this, so you've still got yourself a lip going round. So underneath here, again, it's trapdoor, and then like that. So I'm going to carry that on around the whole building. Just wanted to make sure the corners were shown as to how to do them. Okay, so that's the nice little cornice on here now. We've got it going all the way around. Adds this lip to the building. Obviously, the iron trapdoors do give you a weird effect with the little circles in, the little squares in them, but I think you can look past it as being just a nice aesthetic that adds a bit more to the building. So before we move on to the roof, I think I'm just going to fill in the internal walls and the floor, just so this building looks a bit more complete. So let's start here with just showing you guys what I tend to do for the actual walls themselves. So I'm going to be using some stripped dark oak logs. And this just forms a nice little skirting board around the bottom here. Not skirting board, dino board. And that goes all the way into the bays and back round again. And then on top of this, let's go back into this corner. On top of this, you'll be using, well, I tend to use cyan terracotta if I can find it anywhere. There we go. And this just helps bring the darkness into the building that a Victorian building would have. Obviously, if you're building this in survival for a base of your own, you know, choose your own colour schemes inside, because I think you guys have a better understanding of internals than I do. And then inside here, you place 6 panes of glass just to act as like you would do with a normal 6-pane glass window. So the case of this window up here, this is what I kind of wanted to show. You need to encase it all in cyan terracotta and put another skirting board across the bottom like this. And what you can do now is just fill this whole thing in with glass. So you get a 4-wide window at the back here. Obviously at the front it looks quite nice with having just that sort of middle section of trapdoors. And there we go. So let's have a look from the front. It's looking perfect now. You've got some glass in there. So I'm going to go around, completely fill out the entirety of the glass and the floor in this build, and then we're going to crack on with the roof. Okay, so we now have all of the windows in, apart from this one at the front door here. So let's just put this in together so you guys get an understanding of how this one looks. There we go. Not obviously connecting it in with the door. I didn't know they connected in with the doors now. That's fascinating. Okay, so that's the internals done to the point I'm happy at. You guys obviously can come back, add rooms and all that to it. So we're looking at this now. The glass in there makes it look perfect. Now it's time to get on to the hardest part that I'm stalling about showing you guys, and that is the roof. So first thing first, you want to go around and placing a layer of polished black stone slabs, and this just forms the base of the mansard roof. So mansard roof is obviously just a curving convex roof that goes up and looks slightly curved. It's really hard to do in Minecraft with obviously just using blocks. So I attempt my best at doing it with this build here. So I'm going to go around and get this in, and then we'll get around to the front and we can start placing in the first corner. Okay, so we're going to be using whole polished blackstone brick blocks for this. And first of all, you place one down there, and hey presto, that's the whole roof done. No, it's not. Stop lying to these people. So I'm going to be building it out by 4, just so we get an understanding of how this looks, because each of the corners are the same. They are just quite complicated to look at when it's all just black. So you go up by 1 more on the same level without going back 1, and you can see here I have actually omitted this corner here, and that just helps with the flow of things. Coming up behind this one, you want to carry on the same idea. You go back 1, and then all of these also go back 1, but you leave that block omitted there. So these go up by 2, but you leave this block here omitted, and you get yourself a sort of thing like this. So it's 1, 3, 2, 1. That's the sort of way I try and remember it whenever I'm building this stuff. It obviously looks better once you get the whole sort of track in here and you get an idea of where this is all going. So like so. And then above this, you need to be placing in the final course, which is just another 2 blocks high. And these just meet in the center like that. So they have a corner like so. And that is the sort of profile of your mansard roof. If you can sort of see it, it all looks very black, doesn't it? It's very hard to make out, but that is kind of what we're going for. And then on top of this, you place 1 more level around like that. And now this is hidden behind a cornice of white smooth quartz again, and just helps break it up and give some contrast to it. So that's what you're looking at there, and obviously I am saying it looks okay obviously once you've built the whole thing out and you've got some dormers on there. So let's talk dormers. The first dormer needs to go above these 2 windows here. So you count in 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks from the outside, and that should place you here. You knock out all the other blocks, so you get sort of a 4 wide window. It's not technically 4 blocks wide, but it is going to look like it's 2 blocks wide. So this is again where I've used the iron trapdoors in creative if you have the debug stick, but for now what we're going to be doing is placing birch trapdoors on the inside of that stair there, using the whole shift click motif to try and get it done. And then this needs to go back 1 block as well, so it sort of creates like a little tunnel for the window, because the window is going to be sitting back here where the cyan terracotta is. Now we need to carry on this roof around. We're going to take it up to this point here, and then I'll show you how to do the rest of the dormer. Okay, so I've built the roof further around now towards the right, and with this we can now do the little archway that goes above the dormer window, which makes it look a bit more Second Empire than it does currently. So you want to be placing upside down quartz stairs here to act as like a little archway, a little tunnel. You can omit this block at the back here and place it all the way back into the building itself, because the glass is going to go inside here like this, and that connects all the way up to there. There we go. So that's kind of how that's looking. We need to put a bit more detail around the sides. So what you want to do is place some upside down quartz stairs to about that point, and then on top you place some normal way up stairs like so, upside down stairs again. And you've got yourself a really nice sort of feature piece on top of that dormer window. And yeah, with the birch there as well, I think it contrasts very nicely up against the black stone. So this is exactly the same repeated on this side and around the back, and also in the middle here, but we do need to build this roof in the center here, which does get a little bit complicated. So let's take ourselves to this corner. Okay, so we're over here in this corner. I like how I just called it that. So you want to count in 2 blocks from the outside here and 2 blocks from the outside there, and you should be in the center of this window. So building the dormer up again is just a case of using the birch trapdoors as a sort of window frame. And I love how these give that sort of skinny look to them. Before I would used to use quartz pillars, which just look awfully fat and chunky. So that's what you're looking like there. Now we've got to bring the wall round somehow, so the roof round. So what you want to do is place a whole block there. It's directly opposite this bit of quartz here, and you do the same here with this one. Behind here you build up 2. And then behind this you also build up 2, so you're left with a couple of bricks like that. Behind this one you build up 3. And this is where it all starts getting a little bit more complicated, so I'm just going to place them down like this while I'm still remembering it. So you've got a case of 3 blocks high here, 3 blocks high here and here, and that should match up with the back of that dormer there. Above that you carry on this one round, place 1 more block back into the center, so we've got this diagonal going up here. The main issue is because we've got 2 diagonals trying to feed in here, it doesn't always work very well, but I think what I've managed to do, it does counter it okay. Yeah, that should be like that, because then we place the upside down stair like that. Yep, we're looking good. So around here again, and it's just rinse and repeat until we reach the top of the roof like that. And then you've got this going around like so. Yeah, that is correct. We'll make a few little tweaks to it if it doesn't look exactly correct when we get to actually placing the top of this dormer on. Just looking at it now, it does look good, and that should give you a sort of convex shape on this middle tower bit as well. Again, very hard to do at this scale and very hard to do with full whole blocks. So that should be correct, and then we carry this on across the middle. We should have 4 blocks wide here. Perfect. So let's carry this cornice on round, using a little technique like that just to give a bit more depth to the roof. Yep, that's looking good. And let's finish off this dormer. So same again, upside down stairs, trying to act as the roof there of this sort of archway. Building up this black stone here just to get a little thing to perch on, because that's the only thing with stairs. Without the debug stick, you do have to do that sort of thing. And hey presto, you got yourself a dormer window here. So that's looking nice and fancy. And then above that, obviously, you've got this cornice here. So it's not as far back as the other one, but I think it works quite nicely still because it just sticks out and it looks good. So what I'm going to do is carry on this already over here so we get a fully looking picture of this front, and then we can carry on with the sides. Okay, so I've gone a little bit further and I've actually built the entirety of the mansarded section of the roof all the way around the building. So it is just a rinse and repeat of what we did on this corner for all the other corners around the building. So that is fairly simple and straightforward, and it gives you this nice look to it. Obviously it's very overpowering at the moment with all of this black stone on here. So once you get all these dormers in, like I haven't put the second dormer in there just yet, we will get around to doing that in a minute. But once you put these dormers in, it really does take away a lot of that black stone. So I wanted to show you guys how to do the sides and then the back, and then we can get on with actually building the main part of the roof structure. So this isn't really the main roof. There's like a second roof above this, which actually acts as the bit that stops the rain from getting in. So we'll build that in a second. So for these dormers here, you want to count in 4 blocks from the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Break out 4 blocks like so. Place down your stairs, and then get out your birch trapdoors again, or iron trapdoors if you are using the debug stick. So you can see now why we put that window across one from the bay window, and that's so it lines up with the dormer above, which looks perfect. So we count in from this side again 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Knock that out, and that should be central above that window. There we go. So it sits kind of across from both windows like that, and that's fine because these windows are here due to the fireplace being here. We will put the chimney in later on the other section. So I'm going to go through and just add in this quickly. Okay, so that's what you're looking at. Obviously break out all of the black stone behind here and put in whatever you want, like glass wires behind there. So let's move on round to the back, and it is again exactly the same. So you count in 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks from the edge, break out 4 blocks, place in your bottom pieces like that, and then you do the same from this side. So 1, 2. Oh, no, we don't want to break out those bits. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it should be the case of counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Break out those. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you should be left with 4 blocks between them. Oh, I had a heart attack then, thinking it was wrong. And hey, presto, you've got yourself all of the dormers in there. So what I'm going to do is just go around the rest of the building, add in all of these dormers, which is something you guys can do as well. And then we're going to crack on with the top section of the roof. So around the top, like I said, we're going to have to do another roof behind here. But first of all, we have to put the signature railings around the top. So what you want to do is go around into each corner, put another block of blackstone in there, just to help with where we're placing the iron fences. Sorry, the iron bars, as we tend to do with a lot of these builds. Iron bars just like to make a sort of railing or a fence. There's no real way to use chains for this. I tried to incorporate that into this design as well when I first did it, because I made this design for my 1.16 buildings tips and tricks video in order to try and implement as many of the new blocks as possible. So going around here, you can see I'm just placing the corners like that, and with those we're going to be placing another iron bar on top to give this sort of spike effect, which is very common of these American Victorian buildings, as it sort of adds a slight Gothic look to it. Even though these buildings are Second Empire, the Gothic revival scene was actually on at the same time, so it does have little sort of variations of that into it as well. So that's what you've got now with these railings on the top. Again, I don't really like iron bars, but they give us the right effect that we're looking for. So there we go. Now we need to come in and start doing the actual roof. So for this, I'm going to be using black stone polished slabs again. Nope, we're going to be using blackstone bricks polished slabs. I can never get the names right. And what you want to do is go around and add an entire round of this all the way around the roof. And now the roof becomes just a simple hipped roof with a flat top to it. So this bit in the middle here is just going to be a flat roof like so. And again, very common of the style just to have a flat roof like that, because it just makes more sense rather than having a little peak. So starting in this corner here, we want to grab out some polished diorite. So I'm using polished diorite because that acts as like a lead lining to the top of this roof. So we want to go 4 blocks up from that one there. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And this is then met with a round of blackstone here. And this, obviously, when you add up these corners as well, which we need to do here. So 1, and this is just one way of building a roof. I mean, this is my way of doing a hipped roof. It's very hard to do them any other way. And that just gives you that corner there. I'm going to come around to the other 2 sides. And then on this top corner, you start filling in with some flat roof material, like we've done below, where I've just used andesite and some stone bricks and a mossy stone brick. And that gives you a nice little effect of having some form of flat roof material up there. So around here again, you put in some railings like so. And that gives you that's your sort of effect. So from the bottom here, you can see both peaks of the roofs like that. What we are missing is a chimney. So what I'm going to do is rinse and repeat this all the way around so we get the whole roof up. And then I'm going to place the chimneys in so you guys can see where they go. Okay, so we've got the roof on now. You can see we've just gone up with layers of black stone slabs. And that really does give a nice effect. Coming down to the front, you can see how it works now as a whole roof. And the railings up there really do give it this nice Gothic feel now. So for the chimneys, what you want to do is line up this section here. So this block here is where the chimney needs to go. So if we count in from the edge, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the edge of the wall. And that just is going to be made out of jungle planks. So we're using the same idea that bricks don't look great with this texture. So we're going to go for using the jungle planks again, like we've done with the base. And obviously you wouldn't build the chimney out of wood like you've done here with the walls. These are wooden shingles, which is very much how these buildings are built. For chimneys, you would still go for brick, and in our case, we've gone for this. So on top of here, you want to be using anvils as your little sort of chimney pot. I always use these because I feel they look so much better than flower pots. I think they just give a better feeling to the overall sort of idea of a chimney. And we do the same over here. So we count in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Break out those 2 blocks. And place our chimney up 2 blocks and then the anvils on top like so. So that is the roof done. You can clearly see I've put no windows in the rest of these dormers. We'll get that done before the end of the video. But now it's time to start on the porch. So I think the most important porch to start on is actually the back one, because we've got a couple of extra little bits to add to the building back there. But you can see now the house is really starting to take shape. So let's jump into the porch at the back here and let's get started. Okay, so for the porch section around the back here, we're going to be using birch as the main supports on the actual porch section, and then for the base of the porch we're also going to be using birch planks as the floor again, like I've done on the inside of the building. And around the edge we're going to be using diorite and polished diorite stairs to act as the sort of railings around it. So what you want to do here is place on the corners a block of polished diorite. We're going to start down this corner and count our way down to there, because we've got a building to add on the end. And what you want to do is place 3 upside down stairs all in the same direction here, so you get this nice little railing effect. So coming round to this side, what we want to do is place a block there and a block there, and then count off 3 like so. And then we're going to be placing, like I said, a building in this bit here. So grabbing out some more of these quartz bricks, we're going to be counting out 4 blocks that way, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks this way. And within this, we're going to be placing a 4 wide window, so we're going to come back to that in a moment. And then here, we want to be placing a door in like so. And this is just like a small, I guess, a porch within a porch. For us in England, we call porches the bits between the building and the outside. So here, we got that same motif going on. What we want to do is create what's known as a Venetian window. So we're going to come in here and place a trapdoor on the edge of that block there. Same with this, and also on the edge of this block here and there. And then we carry these up by 3. And this creates a similar effect as what we've got on the front of the house of having a 4 wide window, which has been split down into 3 individual windows. And that's what we've got here. So we've got 2 smaller windows on the outside and 1 larger window on the inside. We'll come and put some glass in those in a bit. So carry this all the way up to the same level as the walls here. And then we're going to be placing on top of this some upside down smooth quartz stairs to act as a sort of archway above the windows. Carry on like that from that side, and then 1 like that from that side, and you got left this nice little feature above the windows there. So what this has done is it's allowed us to have a small little sunroom, I'm going to call it now, out here by the porch. And then you're going to be placing down a couple more blocks of diorite here, and between those fill them up with the stairs again. So this block here signifies where the stairs down to the garden go. So what we want to do for this is drop 1 more block down of diorite, bring it out 1 more like that, and then place 4 stairs across so we can get a nice little entrance up there. And then from here to there, you want to be counting 8 blocks in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Placing that down like that, and fill this up with these railings again. Trying to get them all to go the same way so the effect is pretty nice. So that's what you're looking at now for the sort of base level of the porch. We're going to go around, fill up the floor with birch quickly, and then jump back into putting the actual canopy on. Okay, so we've got the floor filled in now with birch, done the same on the inside of the little sunroom here. So as I mentioned, we're going to be using birch fences as the main detail for the columns of the canopy, and then the sort of canopy section itself is going to be supported with birch fence gates. So we're going to count up 4 blocks from each corner here, like so. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now if you are using the debug stick again, if you're in creative and have the opportunity to, you can de-weld these bits here from the bit they're facing, and it just gives you a nicer effect, similar to this one over here, so you get like a proper column. I didn't show it off very well there, but I do have a whole video on detailing that. So on the 4th one, you want to be placing in the birch fence gates, and this gives you a sort of effect of it having like a little canopy, little railing underneath the canopy. So we're going to do this all the way around like so. Right, and then 1 more in the middle here, 2, 4. Cool, and then again you just want to connect all of these in with the same fence gate again, and that just carries on like that. They are a nightmare to place when trying to hold shift and spacebar at the same time. I'm not very good at using all of my fingers. Right, there we go. Cool, and carry on here. So we're going to fill these in, and then we're going to crack on with actually getting the canopy roof in. Okay, so that's with them all now placed. So above this, you want to be placing the andesite again to act as a sort of flat roof. and this is going to be very flat, so you want to fill it in with a bit of detail. As mentioned before, you could use stone bricks and mossy stone bricks. That gives a nice effect to it to look like it's got some sort of tiling on it that have gone, you know, a bit mouldy over time. So you can either place it beforehand and then fill it all up with andesite, or you can go back through once you place the andesite, knock out a few little bits, and then add in the texture. If you are doing it in creative, that's the way I suggest to do it. Obviously, I am building it in creative right now, so it's a little bit easier to go back through and add a bit of detailing once done. So we'll carry on with that in 2 seconds. I want to get the little canopy details out of the way so you guys know what we're doing. And then around the edges of this, like with the rest of the building, we're going to place a cornice on it of pure smooth quartz bricks, stairs, and this goes all the way around like so. And above that you can place some more grey carpet just so it looks like it's been leaded on, similar to what we've done over here. So this goes on. There's a nice little feature around there, and that is the back porch pretty much done. We've got the little doorway down there on the sunroom to do in 2 seconds, just so we can show you guys what that looks like. Right, okay, so that's the canopy on for this back porch. You can see I've gone through, added a little bit of texturing there on the flat roof section. So coming down to this little sunroom, it's a very basic design. You're just going to be placing a upside down quartz stair there to act as the top of the doorway. And we're going to go in for some dark oak door again, just to carry on there. So window wise in here, you just want to build up the window behind here. I know it's not the most gracious looking thing because this was very much an afterthought. I went, oh, a window would look good in there. And then suddenly I started building it and went, no, this isn't good, but again, it does look alright. So you've got a wall of glass there like it's some sort of conservatory. And hey, look at this place. There's so much space in here, all unutilized by myself. Anyway, I think it's time for us to jump round to the front after taking one last look here at the back porch. And we can get that front porch done, and then we're nearly finished with the video. So let's get started on this front porch. Okay, so in the same fashion as we did for the back porch, we're going to be using these birch fences as the main columns, also along with the polished diorite for the actual porch itself. I just think they look quite nice. In the original picture I used, it was all white painted, and I didn't want to use too much more quartz because we've already used a lot of quartz on the actual building itself. So I thought, hey, why not mix it up a little bit and build some diorite in here. So you can see here what I've done is it's gone through, counted out 5 stairs in between 2 posts there. We've got 3 here, 1 here in the middle bit here, and then 3 up the back here. I just thought I'd run through that quite quickly because it's very, very similar to what we've got on the front. So for the staircase, again, it's the same. 4 blocks in the middle there. We've got this sort of 1 block back, and then on here you place a fence just to act as a little bit of railing. And then obviously inside here we will be placing down all of this quartz so you get an understanding of how it looks. I say quartz, I mean birch. I'm very, very, very bad with names. People's names, blocks names, all sorts of names. I can never ever remember names very well. So when I look at a block I go, yeah, I know that's the one I want. I know what colour I want. I can't name it. I could give you the number for it. This is 5:2. And I might be dyslexic, to be honest. That's probably where it comes into it. Anyway, let's get this filled in, and then I'm going to carry on with the canopy, and then we can get a little bit of detailing around the building, and then we can call it a day. Okay, so that's that now filled in. Let's carry on with this railing round here. So you're placing the diorite on all of the corners, filling that up with the stairs to act as railings, and there we are. So time now to count up 4 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4. On all of these, and then between them, as we did with the back, you can be placing birch fence gates in between them all. So let's count up all of these. 2, 3, 4. That's not 4, there we go. And the same again this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so between all of these little posts we got now, you need to be placing the birch fence gates. Okay, so that's all of the railings on now, and you can see the birch in the windows complement the birch out here. You can also see, I'm trying to press C to zoom in, but there's no Optifine in 1.6 yet. You can see I've also not put the glass in these windows, so please forgive me for that, guys. I cut corners wherever I can to save a bit of time with this. Otherwise, we'll be here for hours. So, coming around and just using the andesite again as a flat roof. This is quite a substantial flat roof, so you're looking at a couple of stacks of blocks in here. Again, I'm going to go through and just texture it a little bit just so it looks a little bit more interesting. But what you want to do is go around the edge again with the quartz, make it look like it's got a cornice on it, connecting those two there. Don't put the corners in Corners are bad, they never look good. I can only think of a few occasions where corners would work, and that usually works with Italianate buildings, not these types of buildings. Anyway, so you got that all the way around like so. Grab some carpet again and place that on. So I'm going to jump to having the roof done, and then we can talk about what to do to make this look good in a landscape. So that's the roof of the porch now on, and you may be thinking, hang on, where have all these trees come from? Where's that village come from? So I've jumped over to one I've already built. This is the one I did for the 1.16 building tips and tricks video. As you can see, it's identical. So I thought, you know what, instead of me showing you guys what to do, I'm just going to give you a few little ideas on what I've done to this building. So the roof is now on. We've got a nice bit of texturing going on there. The glass, you can see, are in some of the windows. All of these windows aren't in, so don't look around the back here. But you can see the porch and all of that is exactly the same. But what I did for this build was I built a really nice avenue of trees going down to it, just using the basic Minecraft trees, along with just using a spade to get all the ground out here so you can get a nice driveway up to it. And I think it looks really good sitting at the end of a driveway. It has got a sort of horrible horror house to it. But again, the light colours do help with making it feel a bit more pleasant. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed watching this tutorial on this 1.16 Victorian house. I will do some more in the future because I do like this style, especially with the new block palettes we have. So thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've sort of taken something away from it with ideas for what you could do for your builds later on. So cheers guys for watching, and I will see you next time.